It's your crazier than crazy Pennsylvania Dutch uncle. And I wanted to give you guys another warning about this Chinese stuff. And I know the chain is slack. This is what we're going to cover. I have a dual setup here. We ran into the bike berry disaster. Because even they don't know what they're talking about, but I do. They don't know what specs are. This sprocket, the reason this old chain's here, is set up for 415 chain. So when I bought the parts to finish these tank frame bikes that I bought off of CDH Power when they first came around, okay, there you go. There's your dinner, as Terrell would say. Okay, the problem was we had to weld this sprocket to here, and I did a fairly decent job of it even spacing. And even though it looks like chicken scratch welds, it's not. It's a pretty potent welds. This little miller really puts out a good weld. I scuffed them down. I'm going to go over them in a couple of minutes. But this is the regular sprocket. I had to weld a 415 chain sprocket to this pedal center that they sold me. So these jerk-offs, I told them, oh, I need pedal centered, you know, with 415 chain sprocket. Yeah. Well, as you can see, it's brand new, not finished yet. The pedals aren't. But this bike's been hanging around here longer than the Democrats have been corrupt. So anyway, well, that may not be a fact anyway. But anyway, this bike's been here, and I was all excited. I got it together. And the last things that you're worried about is getting this drivetrain centered. It actually, when I tried it the way it was, to see if I could just get it started and see how the motor runs, I'm very critical about these engines when I put them together. The other thing I wanted to say, Zeta's doing a lot more quality work on these engines, but the but is the casting. There's a lot of casting flaws inside these new cylinder heads. Go over them. Okay, there's a lot of little flakes and stuff hanging on there. They're made in a sand casting, is what it is, and that's what these are. These are actually little extrusions, so they can go through there with a punch. It's very gentle, and it just pushes the casting out. That's why you don't get these jagged edges and stuff like they used to have when they used to slam them out of the sand casting. This is a hydraulic press that actually goes through the mold, and it actually presses the jug out on one side or the other. You know, and then they take it on the machine. I'll press one side off, and then they press the other side off. That's how that does that. But anyway, this thing's been hanging around for, I don't know how freaking long it's been here, but it's been here a while. I finally got a set of wheels on another bike. See, I don't go out of my way to buy a lot of stuff, and they didn't quite work out the way I planned it. But I gave I sold the original Dr. Evil. The guy was after it. He wanted it. But this rack, I handcrafted this rack in. I cut the original. It's the original mounts off. That was on an e-bike. I'm not so much happy with it. I'm probably going to put an extension on it and tail lights and turn signals. But the exhaust, I really went out of my way to make things fit, and they do fairly well. It's a little hard working things. And then this fender took some tooling to get this fender on. I do like a rear fender because of getting in mud and muck, and we're going to get a rubber ducky fender for that. Although it's the bottom of the wheel that really kicks up the dirt and the mud and the dust. It's actually not up top where it really flies off. It's actually out the bottom. And that's why you come home with your ankles and shoes all full of muck and mud. So my little Rough Rider there, lots of problems. So I'm going to straighten this out, and I'm going to finish tidying up these welds. And then, like in aviation, I tell everybody, unless you want your nuts in the center of some highway after they fly off and they hit that seat at all your might that you put down to get that bike going again, I'm going to bolt this through here because I don't want my nuts laying out in the middle of an intersection. Okay? I had a lot of problems. I know I need a haircut. Everything's closed up here because of COVID. There's like 2 places left around here to get a haircut, and I'm in no hurry to get there until it really bothers me, which is starting to as of today. I always give a political message. We had an incident here where we have a lot of people that they don't speak English, they don't understand our laws, they encroach on you, they cause damage upon you. I have to credit our state police. They kind of handled a misconception. What I had said it to somebody somewhere along the line, which I think was a township official, because I really have an axe to grind with this shit-ass township. This is the worst third world slum here near Hazleton, PA. It's not too bad down my end. It's getting just getting bad. They're just moving in here, and then they find out they can't live here because the sewer lines are clogged. They're all backed up. That's actually what I'm going to be doing next week. I'm helping Dr. Singh. He has a rental property where it keeps backing up, and he knows nothing about the concept of a backflow valve. So I'm probably going to excavate that for him. And no, I'm not a licensed contractor, but I know my shit. I used to be a builder and developer. I didn't just work on fighter planes, and I don't just play with these toys. That's not my career. Construction's been mainly a staple, mainly roofing. I went into the roofing end of things and the building and developing originally. But the roofing end of things was a faster paycheck. It was a fast-paced business, and I enjoyed it. Well, after starting to have heart problems and stuff like that, I kind of slowed down. I went from hunting grizzly bear with my bare hands down to hunting butterflies with a net. So it kind of humbles me. But anyway, I wanted to credit the state police for not losing a fucking gasket. The one kid was pretty disturbed, I think, where he, I guess he realized it was a misconception, and we didn't have any miscommunications together. It's important that they just bring one person instead of a whole SWAT team to your house, especially when somebody lies and maybe made a misconception statement. Now, if you say something off the wall to a state trooper, he is the law. You can't argue with the guys. But anyway, I had to credit the guys the way they kind of put things into perspective, didn't get carried away. Nobody carried a hatchet, although one did have an AR-15 right in my face. Not in my face, but anyway, they really didn't. They really didn't point weapons at me or anything. They really didn't go out of their way to intimidate me. So I really have to say, when we have a situation here, I'm hoping these younger guys that I have a little bit better communication skills with them than I did the older, belligerent, ignorant folks. So anyway, I have not been building too many bikes for other people because of this shit. It looks like it fits. Bikeberry and whoever sells it to you has no customer service, no support. You order the shit and find out you gotta get your foot out of a bear trap. That's where you're at with this stuff. You insert foot and you gotta get it right back out of the bear trap. Otherwise your foot stays in it. And that thing's been hanging around here so long, and that was the reason why I did not put that bike together originally. It looked like an intimidating. As easy as that bike looks, it is not. The motor fits on perfect. Everything else fits terrible. I tried ordering 2 different bike racks for that thing. One was either too long, the other one was too short, or I ended up with that used thing off of the electric bike. And that's what those mounts are on the bottom. Those are for the batteries. They had the pedestal charger in the bottom of that mount on them. I'll cut those off eventually. So when you get yourself in trouble, it's large trouble with this Chinese stuff. And when you're buying from companies like Bikeberry, I don't mean the Gas Bike used to have a lot of good products, and they never really did have customer support. So if you had a question, I want to find out about I guess it's called the PZ22 carb I'd rather mount on there. I have one of those fake, what do they call it, with the little boost bottle intakes and carbs. I tried 2 of them in the beginning, and I don't know if that's one of the old ones that was here, but I think it was one that came with this bike when I got it. I've been indulging in my bad habit. Problem is, the stuff, you can put it together, you can do the most perfect job, and it still doesn't start, it still doesn't run, or it doesn't run right. 9 chances out of 10, it's not you. It's the products that you're working with. And with having little to no customer support, you got to bitch it. It's one of the reasons, a lot of the reasons why eBay and all that wasn't just COVID, where they did this with their customer support. It's because of this Chinese stuff. And I wanted to warn you about these Seresto collars out here for these cats. If they're $20-some on eBay, they're junk. They're copies, Chinese copies. I just ran into that. I ordered cat collars, figured they were Seresto collars. I call the company, they tell me they're Chinese copies. Don't ask me what the company's going to do for me. Let's hope Seresto does something, because I paid a good buck for them. And that's my video. I hate to complain, but that's why I make my videos, because every time you guys trip on one of these booby traps like that, That's your way out, baby. But you got to be careful about your centering. You got to make that centering good. It takes a lot of skill to do something like that. And it takes a set of stones between your legs to just get out the welder, grind everything down, and center it up, and then just start welding something. But I'm hoping here, you know, after I bolt it together and everything, if this is out like a little bit out of center, remember, you're not pedaling the bike to be a pedal bicycle, so you're not going to feel it so much. You might feel it a little bit. It might be just a tad bit annoying, but who cares? The bike starts, and you don't have to deal with bikeberry, because I don't like dealing with bikeberry. It's like when I go to Lowe's, I get a mental condition when I walk in the freaking place, because everybody is that butt fuck stupid. And every now and then you get a guy, you walk up on him, he actually knows what he's doing, he actually knows what he's talking about, and you kind of got to humble yourself around a guy that has enough nuts to work in a store full of nuts. But anyway, that's my video. I got to take care of this and clean up my tools. It's beer 30, and I'm anxious to get to a can of beer. I may not, because I got to clean all this junk up. That's the other thing, is you contemplate an amount of time. You might allot a weekend to build one of these bikes and think you're going to build it in a weekend, and it might be 2 or 3 or 4 weekends. It might be a year before that bike goes together because of shit like this. Because figuring your way out of this and talking, you can't just order something online because there's not enough specs available. It's a picture. And that's why you're dealing with those jerk-offs at Bikeberry, why they do the stuff they do to you. Because they're looking at the same picture, there's no specs there, so they can't tell you anything about the product. But they sell it, they carry it, and they charge you. Basically, they buy it on eBay. They're looking on eBay, and they mark it up about 10% and whatever the shipping is, and that's how you get things from Bikeberry, just so you know. They're looking at eBay, the same place you are, or some of the other bike sites. And that's why the shipping sometimes is a month to 2 months from Bikeberry, because they're ordering it from another company, and it's a guy that, like me, that sells his, like I do. I sell my motors on the side. Mainly I don't ship anymore because they've been disappearing in the mail. Don't ask me why, or people are being slimy and they're not telling me they got the motor and they're lying to me. So I don't ship shit no more to anybody. And not to mention the private shippers and that, they said to hell with it. We may end up without food, we may end up without a lot of things, because the truckers are getting pissed off at Biden. You hear them in the stadiums, fuck Biden, fuck Biden. Well, I got fuck Biden flags all over the businesses in the house here. So fuck Biden. That's my video to you guys. Enjoy. It's nice, it's fall, it's good riding weather.